What is kind of remarkable is that this small group of patients with neuroendocrine tumors were really trailblazers and set the stage for something that came very unexpected, and that's expanding theranostics into other diseases such as prostate cancer, probably in the end pancreatic cancer with other theranostic pairs. Also kind of creating a model of how patient advocacy really should work and what can be done. This is absolutely remarkable. We started with PRT maybe, I would say, 1.5 years ago or so on expanded access IND at UCLA. We have treated, I think, maybe 35 patients thus far, and now, of course, it's clinical routine. As Tim Donahue mentioned before, we are building a theranostic center which will be located in Marina del Rey, for those of you who are coming from the Los Angeles area immediately. It will take us another year to have that done, but we will treat neuroendocrine tumors there and prostate cancer, as well as probably thyroid cancers. And the nice part of that will be that it's a completely integrated program with oncologists, gastroenterologists, endocrinologists, urologists, and we all will kind of work together to make surgeons, of course. I apologize, we have a strong surgical group here, all working together to make this happen. One of the risks when one embarks on these kind of new programs is that people get self-happy. And then they would say, well, now we can improve the outcome of patients and mission accomplished. And of course, mission is not accomplished. And that's, I think, where Elyse Gellerman comes in. She's now the Chief Executive Officer of the Net Research Foundation. And she has extensive experience in managing cancer entities, cancer programs. She served in key roles at Susan Komen Foundation. Komen Foundation is you're well aware who they are. They are a major breast cancer organization, of course. And she has been recognized by the White House as a champion for change in the fight against breast cancer. Why is that foundation important? Because the foundation creates a link between the basic and the clinical sciences, and she will talk about this. For instance, for our program, which is a highly translational program, we want to understand why patients become resistant or are resistant to certain treatments, and that can be neuroendocrine tumors as well as prostate cancer, and what kind of methods we have to understand why patients become resistant and identify liabilities and come up with potent combination therapies that was already mentioned today. So this is a unique funding opportunity. We all should be in great support of the foundation. It's now my great pleasure to ask Elyse to come to the podium here. Thank you very much.
It is our pleasure to be a sponsor of this meeting, and we appreciate the opportunity that we've been given to just talk a little bit about our work, what we do, how we do it, and really, I think, how it relates to all of you as patients and as caregivers. So the Neuroendocrine Tumor Research Foundation started in 2005, and like this organization and many other NET-related patient organizations, it was started by a patient. So Nancy Lindholm's experience was maybe similar to some of yours. She had some vague symptoms. She worked as an attorney in the Boston area, very driven, very hard worker, and she chalked up some of these vague symptoms to stress. But she collapsed one day in the subway, and she was taken to a hospital and diagnosed with a neuroendocrine tumor. At that point, and again, remember this was about 2004, 2005, she could not find a lot of information about her disease. She could not find research. She could not find a lot of experts who could help her on her journey and try to figure out what she should do next for her treatment plan. So as she learned more, as she could, about her disease, she really applied herself and pulled together some of the brightest minds in the Boston area, which is where we're located, even though our reach is much broader. And she started the foundation to be devoted to research into the causes and hopefully cures for neuroendocrine cancer. So that is the legacy that we hold very dear to us, and we have grown substantially since 2005. So we are now the largest private funder of neuroendocrine research, and we've funded a total of 57 projects since we began. So really our mission is to fund this research, to look at how we can push ahead the science and look at transforming what we know about NETs. Also, just as important to us, we're committed to supporting patients and families who are dealing with this disease every day. So we provide educational resources, we co-sponsor programs such as this one, we provide educational opportunities throughout the country, and have quite a video library. And sometimes it's just a matter of picking up the phone in our office and talking to patients and helping them get connected with support groups or with NET specialty programs around the country. And that is a part of our work that we take very importantly. Our reach is global. We're happy to say that right now we fund projects on 3 continents. I like to say A to Z, Australia to Zurich, and you can see where we have active projects right now. Really, our approach is to build a scientific community of people who are dedicated to NET research and provide an opportunity for these researchers to collaborate with one another, to share their data, to provoke one another with questions so that we can come out with the best possible approaches and leave no stone unturned as we look for the answers and how we can understand neuroendocrine cancer, which is different. It really is different. There's a lot that we do not know. We need to understand the basic tumor biology, and we have a lot of work that is devoted to that. We also need to understand why is it that some patients respond and others do not. So right now we have 15 current projects, and we have been building the bench a lot faster the last few years because we have been able to expand. But it's important to us to look at the best and the brightest minds wherever they may work, whether they're senior researchers who have skills that they now can apply to NET, or whether they are junior researchers who want to make their scientific home in the neuroendocrine world. And we really want to provide some support for those people to pursue their scientific questions and to collaborate and to build projects that will help us gain additional understanding. We also fund some grants through other organizations that can help us expand our reach, whether it is NANETS, the Professional Society for Neuroendocrine Physicians, or ERF, which is a foundation that works in the nuclear medicine area. So we collaborate with a lot of other organizations to actively recruit to this field. What's happened since we started, we're very proud that some of our funded researchers have made some breakthroughs. Our researchers have done a lot of work on DAX and Atrix genes, which are mutated in about 40% of pancreatic NETs. We funded work to discover the role of MEN1 in NET, and also discovery of a drug that can overcome resistance to everolimus. That work, we provide the seed funding in some of these preclinical studies, and you've heard that word used a couple of times today, leading to clinical trials that are much broader and much more targeted in their discovery. We're also looking at, can we take work that's been done in other areas in cancer? Can we kind of span the horizon and look at what is happening elsewhere and see if some of this work is applicable to NET? And some of the areas that we're funding right now, you may have heard of CAR T-cell therapy. We have some funding in a project to see if that may be applicable to NET. Again, we don't know. It's part of that mystery of immunotherapy that, as Dr. Kuhn said, not necessarily ready for prime time. Liquid biopsy is another area that we are investigating with a researcher to see if blood rather than tissue can be used to modify progression of disease. We're looking at genomic sequencing, so what's really going on in the genetics of these neuroendocrine cells. And also, some of you, if you've looked into the research a little bit, you know that one of the shortcomings in NET is that we don't have reliable cell models. So these cells grow slowly. We don't have models in the laboratory to be able to test drugs as readily as they do in other areas of cancer. So we're funding a project to look at, can we create mini organs, or a way that we can create tumors in the lab and use that for testing and other research. Another way that we look at our impact, and I think this is something that you can understand, science is, it's not always as fast as we would like it to be. Science builds upon itself. So we took a snapshot at the end of last year, and at that point we had funded 48 studies in total since we started, and those 48 studies resulted in 48 papers in scientific journals, in peer-reviewed, good quality journals. This means that other researchers are reading those studies. So those studies for, again, that period of time, 2005 to 2017, had been cited, or they'd been referenced by people who were trying to do new projects about 2,100 times. So we know that our work is out there in the field. We know that people are reading it. New researchers who are trying to look at where their work should take them, new people formulating questions, people coming to the field with expertise in everything from endocrinology to laboratory sciences. So that's one of the ways that we look at what our impact is, and we are very confident that that will continue. So what are we doing with our latest round of grants? We announced new grants in March. So maybe this is the connection to the PRRT section, but we are helping some researchers look at what is the next generation of PRRT. How can we make it more effective? How can we make it an option for many more patients? So one award, what we call an accelerator award, has been given to Dr. Hicks and a team in Australia to study ways to improve the clinical benefits of PRRT. And what they're focusing on specifically is what's the mechanism of resistance to it. How can scientists intervene in that process whereby tumor cells repair themselves after treatment? So that's really study at the molecular level, really looking at the tumor biology. And then an investigator award to Dr. Shibley, who is located in Zurich, studying a new radionuclide particle to find out whether this particle is effective, again, in a broader group of patients for PRRT, and how does that treatment potentially impact metastasis of NET. We're also looking at why tumors grow and spread. We have about 4 pilot projects or proof of concept. Are there biomarkers that would predict response to cabozantinib? So that is the study that Dr. Kuhn's referenced that's about to start with Dr. Chan at Dana-Farber. Can a protein that plays a role in PNET metastasis be blocked? So again, really looking at the cells themselves and how they behave. Can liver nets be grown in the lab? And if that's the case, then those cells can be used to test different types of drugs and treatments. And can we also use a new technology, something called 3D hydrogel technology, again, to grow cells in the lab so that we have models for study. We also, as I mentioned, provide resources to patients. So we have online resources, and you can go to NETRF.org. We have monthly e-updates that you can sign up for if you want to see us at our exhibit table. We participate in a lot of social media efforts because we know that we have to get out awareness not only to patients and families, but also to the broader medical community so that they are starting to look more for NET. And how you can get involved with us, again, we are funded through private donations, individuals, families, foundations, and we welcome really all support for the work that we do, because we know we have not gotten to the point where it's mission accomplished. We have a lot more that we need to do. So you can also follow us on Facebook, and I think spread the word about our research funding. Engage with us in any way that's appropriate. Even give us a call if you have a question about what the resources may be and what's happening in this area. So we are grateful for all of you. We want you to know that regardless of where you are in your journey, you're not alone. There's a larger national and, in fact, international community of scientists who are trying to find these very key answers to neuroendocrine tumors. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Baudet. You can see her wonderful biography, and we're also very happy to have her as one of our scientific advisors as NETRF. She's going to talk about fundamentals and developments in PRRT.